So in this video we will see what is mean by source list and what are the details it will store in SAP MM. So in previous video you have seen what is mean by purchase info record and what are the data it will save. So basically purchase info record saves the price and conditions related data for a particular material and vendor combination. Before going to what is the definition of source list, before looking what is the definition of source list, I will give one example. Suppose you are a car manufacturing company. Suppose I will consider car manufacturing company. And I will consider on material. See, this is the material. I will consider. So tire as a material. So in real time what will happen? This car manufacturing company will procure tire from external vendor. Obviously this car manufacturing company will not depend on only one supplier, so it will be having some 2 to 3 suppliers to fulfill their requirements. In this scenario what will happen? This car manufacturing company will be distributing its overall quantity to among some 4 to 5 vendors. So now we have considered tire as an example. For your just for knowledge purpose, I will show you what are the tire manufacturing company available. See, just I am searching in Google. Say tire manufacturers. If you search this, see, I will open this one. So tire manufacturer. Here we have list. If I consider, I will consider only some 4 to 5 companies. Apollo Tires, Apollo Tire one company. Similarly, next Birla, we have Birla Tires one company. I'll just consider 4 companies. So Bridgestone also is there. Bridgestone. So Bridgestone. So there are, you can see here, there are plenty, around 20 to 30 tire suppliers are there. But suppose your company is dealing with only some 4 vendors. Just for example, you consider your company is dealing with 4 vendors. So these are the 4 sub vendors for this particular material. So this is what we will define in source list. Source list, what it will do, for particular material, see, for particular material, in our case tire is a material, what are the allowed sources of supply? What are the allowed sources of supply? See, for tire your company has these many vendors. So this is what we will define in source list. Source list in the sense, for a particular material, what are the allowed sources of supply? Here I will show you the definition. For a particular material, a list of sources we call source list. So it is just a list of vendors for particular material. For this material, what are the allowed sources of supply? It will be stored in source list. Now you understood the definition. Source list specifies the time period of ordering a particular material from a given vendor. So again this I will discuss when I enter the screen. Source list can be copied from one plant to another plant. So first I will go to SAP screen and I will show you. I will log into system first. I go to transaction ME01. Here you can see for particular material and plant combination 9860 I am taking my plant, and suppose material 36. See, for this material what is the vendor, what is the validity period. So what are the details we will enter in source list. I will just discuss one by one. So first we will discuss validity period. Valid from and valid to date we will enter. Vendor we will enter, who is the vendor for material, and these are the purchase organization related information. Suppose this source might be vendor or a plant or an outline agreement. So we have these three options. So I'll just create one source list, then I will explain you. So see, today's date I will take. See, suppose this I am considering one vendor. We have many vendors, 305, 36, 305 and 6 I will consider. 305. So purchase organization details, which is the organization. If you enter, so it is giving error because I have entered a vendor which is one time vendor. So for one time vendor we will not maintain source list and all those things. So it is giving error. So I will enter again one more vendor. I will take different vendor. So you should just cross check the errors. You will get to know what is the mistake you have done. So again one time vendor it will not enter, it will not allow. So you might be asked in interview, can you make source list for one time vendor? So answer is you cannot maintain source list for one time vendor. I will consider one more vendor. See, now if I enter this one, see it has taken the detail. Ordering unit is there. See, as I said, this source list may be, see we are procuring this tire maybe from external vendor, maybe some other plant which is ours only, some from some other plant, or some agreement we have with respect to agreement. You can enter agreement number also. Outline agreements we will be having. I will explain you once we go there. So you can enter outline agreement number and what are the item number in agreement. So agreement and outline agreement in the sense both scheduling agreement and contract will come. So you will enter agreement number and that item number, contract number and contract item. So if you want to, suppose you have, now we have one vendor, you can enter other vendors also. Same. Source list contain, as I said, possible source of supply for particular material. And now I have taken this vendor. Now I will maintain different vendor. Sorry, wrong selection I have made. 9860. If I enter here, see, suppose consider for this material we have two vendors. For supplying this material number 36, we have two vendors. For two vendors we have number range. You can define your own number range depending upon so your requirement. You will define your number range. See, purchase organization, these are the details related to purchasing. Here now I am showing by entering vendor. You can enter your other plant. If you have other plant also, you can enter. I will try to enter plant also in this one only. I will show you whether it will allow or not. Purchasing organization 9860. So it will not allow as per my knowledge, because this material should be there in that plant also, then only it will allow. But then also I will try this one entering. See, not maintained in plant. So this material should be there in both the plant, then only it will allow you to create the source list on that plant. Here you can see no material master data exists for material 36 in plant 9861. So if you are procuring this material from your other plant, this material master should be there in that particular plant. So in my case, I have not maintained this this material in my plant, other plant, so it will not allow. So as of now, you just remember for what is source list. Source list is the list of vendors allowed for a particular material. These are the possible available sources for this material. So you will be having for particular material 4 to 5 vendors will be there, or else you will be having, as I said, vendor, you might be source as a vendor, source might be your other plant. So you have some agreement number also you can enter, agreement number and agreement item you can enter here. How these things I will discuss later. So I will maintain this agreement number and item number when we will discuss about source list and outline agreement. I will discuss about these things. As of now, you see, for this material, these are the allowed vendors with this validity period. So here we have fixed vendor. So if you want to make out of these three vendors, if you want to make particular vendor as a fixed vendor, so you need to check this box. Fixed vendor in the sense, what will happen whenever you go to create purchase order or a purchase requisition for this material, automatically if you are having around 2 to 3 vendors also, whichever the vendor you mention as a fixed vendor, it will pick there. So this is the importance of fixed vendor. Similarly, you can block also. For particular vendor, if you block this vendor, it will not allow to make any procurement from this vendor. So these two columns are related to MRP related columns. Here I will show you. MRP indicator will be there. Source list record not relevant to MRP. If you leave it blank, this source list will not be considered for MRP. Record relevant to MRP, if you make one indicator, if you set there, this record source list will be available for MRP. So two options you have: record relevant to MRP, schedule line is generated automatically. This I will show you later. So we'll see MRP and scheduling. Usually what will happen, your purchase requisition and all those things will be generated based on your MRP run. So whenever we run MRP, depending upon these settings, whatever the settings you make here, is MRP area and all those things, if you are, whatever the settings you will make here, depending upon these settings, this purchase requisition will be generated depending on whenever you run MRP. So that time I will explain this thing. If I explain now, you don't understand. As of now, you just keep in mind what is source list. Source list for a particular material and vendor what is the allowed source of supplies. So source of supply might be a vendor, plant, or you can also enter agreement, outline agreements. So here you can maintain which is the fixed vendor, which is the blocked vendor. If you want to block some vendors, you can block. If you have out of 10 vendors, if you want to block some 5 vendors, you can block it here. So if you don't make any settings here, that is, if you leave it blank, this fixed indicator, then it will whenever you go to create purchase requisition and purchase order, you need to manually pick the vendor. It will show display all these vendors. Suppose if you have maintained 3 vendors, whenever you create purchase requisition, it will display all these 3 vendors. You need to pick manually. So this fixed vendor, all those things will make sense in whenever you create automatic purchase order, all those things. Suppose if you want to create for this material, if you want to create automatic purchase order, so in that case, how it will pick one vendor? Only if you maintain fixed vendor, then only automatic purchase order creation will be possible. So we will discuss later. But then, for as of now, just you understand what is meant by source list. So I am willingly skipping in the sense I am not diving deep into some of the concepts, because if I explain it now, you will not understand. So I will just cover what are the details necessary as of now. I will cover it in for just like introduction, and then once we go to transactions, that is when we will create run P2P cycle and all those things, that time I will come again and explain each and every field. So whenever with situation, if I come, then only you will understand. So as of now, you keep this in mind. So this is how you will create source list. So I will if I enter here, I want to delete this one vendor, or else I will enter one more vendor. I will delete. I will keep only only 2 vendors. If I save this, you can see source list changed. So this will be generated. Source list will be generated. This is one way of creating source list. If I come here, see T code is ME01 maintain source list. For creation and change for both the options, you have one T code. In ME01 only you can create or change. So if you want to display ME03, again I will show you how to display. Then ME03, if you go here, ME03 for particular material in this plant, see you can display the source list. ME03 display. Now if you want to see what are the list of source list, that is you can see the list. So transaction code is MEOM /N MEOM. If if I come here MEOM slash n MEOM, sorry, it is not MEOM, it is ME0M. See, you can enter your material and plant. Okay, you can see the source list. For particular material, you can execute the source list. You can see here list. Okay, ME0M it is, not OM, ME0M. Again, if you want to see the path, menu path, come here /n. If I come here in logistics, in materials management, under material master, sorry, purchasing, under master data source list, you have under master data source list, you can see here maintain display changes list display by material. This is what we have seen, ME0M. This is changes. Again, what are the changes? If any changes, ME04 you can execute. You can see what are the changes and who has done the changes. You can see all the details. So system got stuck actually. See, ME01, ME03, as I said. Then you have, see again the example I have given. For wheel, you have these are the source of supply. In purchase in source list, you will not maintain any price related data. You will maintain this price related data in purchase info record. So here you can see note it has given source list record is not having price information. So you will be asked in the interview whether you will maintain price related information or not. So source list could be a vendor, other plant or outline agreement. I already executed. So in this case, source list should be for wheel, Apollo, CA, TVS, MRF and other plant. So this is how source list will look. Yeah.